You're live. Right.
You're on.
Hello, everyone. Hi, it's Elaine. Now, as promised, we are here on YouTube. So thank you for everyone that is joining us from all over the world, wherever you are, wherever you may be. And I thank my son for helping us out here with all the questions and things, and Lucy too. So we're all together here. Now, we're in a different place than usual. We're in my son's place. So obviously, we're not in my usual little room that we're in. So we hope that you'll enjoy this. I'm going to do a little prayer in my mind, and then I'm going to go into the trance so that you... Sorry?
Speak to you beforehand as well.
Yeah, okay. Right. People will be speaking to me beforehand, I understand. So you'll be asking me questions about whatever it is you want to ask. Maybe about my journey and how I got to where I am now. So I'm looking forward to the questions here.
Yeah, for those who don't know, how did you get into mediumship?
I got into mediumship mostly when I was younger. I used to sit with my father, Derek. He was a physical phenomena medium. And I used to sit there with him when I was 15 one night, and he used to have the trumpet, which was like a cone-shaped, metal-shaped thing with luminous paint on the either end of it. And that used to fly around the room at speeds. And then I only used to sit there with him every now and again. And sometimes I'd be at school and what have you. So I didn't always get to sit with him, but his circles were fabulous. Things flying around the room, toys landing in your lap. But then I sort of grew older and started to have my own family, and it all went away really. So my dad continued with it, but I didn't really have any messages or do anything of that nature. I just sort of got on with life. So how I got here was going to Ireland with my children when they were young, and we went there to see my father-in-law's family. And of course, by that time, he had passed away. So it was the last night there, and I asked him to come through in some way, make a noise in the hotel room, what have you. And then what happened wasn't anything, you know. So I thought, well, I'll go off to sleep. And I drifted off into a half sleep. And all of a sudden, I was laying on my tummy, and I felt a pull on my stomach, on my solar plexus area, laying on my tummy. And then all of a sudden, this voice bellowed out. My children said it was really loud, but it seemed quiet to me.
I was saying myself, and the noises that come out of you that night were inhumane, I would say.
Oh, I hope it wasn't anything. Sound like some evil monster.
I think they'd have woken up the whole hotel.
Yeah.
The noises that come out of you.
But to me, it sounded like the words, if I can remember rightly, they were words like, I wanted to love you, son, I tried to love you, son. That's what I heard. So I assume it was my father-in-law talking to his son, which was who he was laying in bed next to me at the time. So whether he understood those words or whether they came out differently, I don't know. But it was a rather strange feeling. So the next day I contacted my friend's mother. Oh, no, not my friend's mother. It was actually my mother's friend, to be honest. And she was a hypnotherapist and a trance medium, and she used to hold a trance group, and she knew my father. And she said, well, I'll put you in contact with a lady called Kay Austin, and she runs a trance group. She said, it's trance. I said, well, what is trance? And she told me that it was where the guide comes to speak through you. So I thought, okay. Started off at a meditation group at Kay's, and then a few weeks later went back and sat with Kay, actually with Kay in her group. And she brought me forward, and you know, Jonathan didn't speak at first, didn't even know I had Jonathan there, a guide or anything. Never really explained to us about guides when we sat in the circle. It just sort of all gelled together. That's how it happened. That's how I got to the group. And then from there, I started to bring spirit through. And then one day I sat in my friend's house and she said, "Can you do some trance?" I said, "Okay, I'm not sure. I've only been doing it a few months." So then after that few months, I thought, well, okay, I'll give it a go. Her friends had gone home, so she said, "Well, don't worry, I'll bring you back." And at the end of that, my guy Jonathan presented himself. I was rather shocked. I thought, well, I know you. I feel as if I know you. I felt unconditional love flowing through me. So it was a wonderful experience. And from then on, he started to speak in the group regular. So I hope that answers the question so far. I know it's gone a bit long, the answer, but that's what it is.
Have you actually ever seen Jonathan?
I've seen him in my sleep. It took 10 years for him to come through in my sleep. 10 years. I thought, well, that's no time to him. But then before that, I kind of knew he looked like that anyway.
Yeah.
I always knew because my friend had painted him for me. He asked her to paint him in a circle. He said, "Can you paint me?" And she was an artist. So she painted him, and I think that a few others have painted him since, but she captured him in a true way that I saw him in the dream, which was exactly how I saw him.
Mm. Do you get many other spirits come through you during readings or circles?
Well, I get my twin come through. She always seems to come through childlike. And yet when my dad saw her when he got out of his body, she was an adult. He said she was very eloquent and speaking to him when he was in a deep trance. And then when she came to me, she always came as a child. She seemed to come as a child simply because she wanted to bring the childhood innocence and the fact that children bring laughter, happiness, positivity. And that's, I suppose, why she comes like that, because she wants to make everybody happy and get that positive energy going.
Did you do any kind of like mediumship before the Jonathan thing come along?
No, not really. It was just about sitting in the group. We'd meditate each week, and then we'd just be like an experiment to see what happened, really, to see if anyone would bring spirit through in the circle.
So in a way, it more chose you than you going out to find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It chose me all right. I didn't have any idea I had any gifts at all.
What sort of mediumship did your dad do then?
He was a physical medium that I explained. He would sit in the dark, and it would have to be pitch black. So he wasn't running around the room doing the trumpet himself. Believe me, it wasn't even possible for him to do anything like that. He was in his 50s at the time, and for him to run around the room and move that trumpet at speeds like that beyond comprehension, he couldn't possibly do it. And the fact that the trumpet had glow paint at either end of it, you could have seen if a human hand would have covered it. It would have covered the luminous paint. So it couldn't possibly have done it, because I checked it out. I checked that his hand didn't cover the luminous paint at the other end of the trumpet. So I sat with my father, and amazing experiences happened. He used to go off into a deep trance, and that was it. He'd be gone, and then all of a sudden things would start to happen in the room. Music was played. We'd sing songs to get the energy going, positive energy, of course, and then all of a sudden, warmth, the trumpet would fly through the air. And
yeah, I mean, if anyone's got any questions they want to ask Elaine before she goes into trance, please do that now. You got any?
However, Paul Rogers asks, how long did it take in training before Jonathan would start speaking?
Oh, it took quite a time. Now, he started, as I said, with a few months beforehand. He started speaking, but he didn't speak like he does today. It would have been right back in 2005 I started, remember? So it was very much more like my voice then, but different in the way that he would present the words, of course. But it took him time to learn how to make his voice how he wanted it to be. So for a time, it was just like my voice, but kind of speaking without any expression. And after a time when I sat in my own circle, he began to speak as a little bit like a teenager's voice of a teenage boy dropping into a man's voice. That's how it would go. It would go slightly higher, and then it would go lower again, and then eventually it just stayed like that. So it's like a little bit like a transition he was making with the voice. He was able to learn how to manipulate my vocal cords so that he could then create his own way of speaking.
Yeah.
That's how it went.
You got any more questions?
Someone says Jonathan uses quite modern day language. Do you know why that might be?
I think that for that reason he's using my mind, and I guess because he's using his energy and my energy, then some of my personality would come into it.
Yeah.
So he's probably either picked up on modern day words, or he's using some of my vocabulary that I use, and he's piecing those words together from my mindset to create a physical sentence, and that's why he would do it. I guess we speak in modern terms, and because of my mind might be slightly involved in it, which it has to be for the trance to happen, then some of my words would come into it.
Also, I'm guessing it makes it easier for people to understand. If he
that's
uses
right.
old language, he wouldn't.
If he used all old language, he'd use all, like, I suppose, complicated words out of the dictionary. I don't know how the Victorians spoke exactly. I know they were quite educated, some of them, but I think he speaks, like you say, in words that can be understood in your modern day way of speaking. If he spoke all old-fashioned, you might not understand it all. But
last one before we go in. What century is Jonathan originally from?
He's from the 18th century, 1800s. Yeah.
1800s, 19th century.
Yeah.
Yeah. What we've got is we're going to do some questions from Elaine Thorpe Medium's group, which anyone can join. If you go on Facebook, you'll find it on there, and your membership will be approved if you want to join there, and you get some extra news or get it early from there and talk about Elaine's mediumship with other people. We're going to ask them, and we're going to ask, and then work our way through them, and then people can ask questions in the live chat as well after. So if you would like to go into trance now, and we'll get started on that.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to do my own prayer in my own mind, okay? So once I've done that, he'll start to make his way through.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Jonathan.
Good evening. I'm pleased to be with you. Yes.
Yeah, well, the first YouTube live. This will be.
Something of a new innovation, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of your old videos are on there, but this is the first time you. Obviously, it's very similar to the Facebook Live, but maybe some new, different people.
We have progressed since the beginning.
No, yeah, definitely come a long way. Yeah, a lot of new people are becoming very interested in it.
Oh yes, and there will be more, I understand.
Oh, hopefully so. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. We've got some questions that people have asked already, and we're going to have some live questions as well from people watching live on YouTube. I'll go straight into it. Melissa Figueroa, she asked, how do you get rid of old programming that was instilled through your religion, specifically that mediumship is the devil's work? How do you get away from that?
Yes, I think that Elaine saw that question another day, but it will be I that answers it, of course. But it is through your beliefs that you are taught from a child to where you are now as to what you are programmed into, aren't you? I would say that it is one's own choice whether or not you would want to become spiritual, or whether or not you would have had an experience to give you greater understanding of the spiritual. Perhaps somebody of a loved one would come and visit you in a dream state, or come to you in the physical world, and an angel perhaps may visit you, and you will have a different thought after that, a different belief. But I think that it is very hard once you have had a belief instilled into you in the way that you want to move away from it and become spiritual, that it has to have two different ways of thinking, doesn't it? So the two start to merge together. Perhaps you may be a little religious and you may be spiritual along with that, you see. So everything is a choice. And it is your choice to go within, and whether or not you want to become spiritual, it is entirely one's own choice. We cannot force you to believe in such things, but as long as everything is done in the light and in prayer and in genuineness, then I cannot see anything wrong with it.
Do you think there's many good aspects to religion?
I do believe that there are, yes, because I'm not going to condemn religion, but I believe that some of it may be of man's inspirational writing from spirit that was put into the Bible, and some of it was a slight bit of fear-based control, so to speak. But I do say that the positive side of it is that they are connecting with the spirit side of the world in a way, aren't they? They are connecting to Jesus. They're connecting to God, and both of that is in existence on the other side. And so it is wonderful that they are connecting with the beautiful light of spirit.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Alison Sutherland, she asked, when we've become quite advanced in meditation, connecting with spirit, increasing our vibration and met our soul, will it be easier for us to transit from the world to the spirit?
Yes, it makes it less fearful, doesn't it? I think that if you are going to pass to spirit, and you are going to pass, I would give an example of after a long illness, you are going to pass to the spirit world. And you do become a little fearful of what is in the afterlife, or what to expect after you have passed out of your physical body. But I think that if you are reassured on this side of life, or you are spiritually awakened and become spiritual in your way of thinking, then you're not going to fear it half as much as what you would if you weren't.
Yeah. Got another question. When we leave our earthly bodies this time around, having learnt so much on our spiritual journeys, will we have to learn it all again when we come back the next time, or will we go on to the next stage of learning?
I think that if there are fears from the past life, or angers that you have not overcome in that particular past life, you will deliberately bring them in this life to learn to overcome them in this life, in order for your soul, when it goes back to the spirit life, to raise itself, to ascend into the higher realms of spirit. So it's all about learning about unconditional love in all of its forms. Love isn't just giving somebody a hug. There are many emotions attached to love, aren't there? Many different perceptions of love. So yes, if you are going to hold the insecurities and fears within you, they will come back into this life with you.
Yeah. A question on the same sort of lines. I know there was one asking how do we get in touch with our loved ones when they've decided to be reincarnated?
Well, I would say that you are made up of facets. The soul is made up of facets, you see, and some of that facet will remain in spirit, and the rest of it will come into an earthly incarnation. And so you are still able to tune into your higher self and tune into your loved ones, part of them that they have left behind in spirit. The facet of them is still available, perhaps, for you to communicate with, but they will still be able to come to the earth and incarnate.
So for those who don't know, what is a facet? What is a facet?
I would say you've got a diamond, haven't you?
Yeah.
If you look at a diamond, it has all different little facets to it. A facet is like a little shape of the diamond. You have tiny little shapes within that diamond that are all together in one big shape. So you are part of a facet. A facet is a diamond. You look at a diamond, you shine it in the light, and part of it will shine and part of it will not. Part of it that is facing the light will shine. Part of it that isn't will glisten some way or another, but it will not shine as bright as the one that is facing the light. So you are all made up of those facets of a diamond, but you are a soul.
Yeah. Also, I'd like to ask, once we've learned all our lessons of being reincarnated, do we remain in spirit eternally, or?
I think that once you ascend to complete source of light, which is what you become as you raise through the different realms of spirit, then you will no longer need to incarnate.
Okay. Mandy Barrett asked, do we reincarnate with our children, mums and dads and siblings in other lives? Do we stay together, please, Jonathan?
Yes, and of course, other souls from similar soul groups will come into your life, perhaps to teach you something, or to teach them something in the way of overcoming something or learning something.
Okay. Indigo Amy Pacman asked, do mediums time travel like shamans of old?
We could go wherever we wanted to be.
Okay.
Yes, because we can, as souls, bilocate.
Okay, so time isn't a thing to you, or
No,
travel isn't, being anywhere in the world isn't anything to you, sort of?
Well, if we could be wherever we wanted to be, you see. When you are in a physical being, you have a consciousness. And when you pass out of that physical being, your consciousness lives on. So your consciousness is your state of thought, your state of mind. And sometimes when you are sitting in an earthly body and you are thinking about several different things at once, your mind is bilocating. So because you become a consciousness after you pass out of the physical being, you are still able to think like a mind would think, you see. That is what you are, a consciousness. You are surviving as a consciousness. So that is why you can be anywhere that you want to be, because the physical mind can be anywhere that it wants to be in the way of thought. And so that is a consciousness. So you become that consciousness. And then you could be anywhere that you want to be. You could be there in a split second. Yes.
So with people that have a lot of problems in their life, are they more likely to be less advanced in the spirit world, or?
No, doesn't mean to say that you are less advanced. Maybe you have picked such a complicated life because you want to ascend your soul to the higher realms of spirit, and you want to learn about love on a very deep level.
Okay, yeah. Rita O'Shea asked, how do you know if we're connected to our spirit guide, Jonathan, please?
You would know because sometimes they will send you a sign. Many people will ask their spirit guides to send them a sign that they are around, or they will go into meditative states and their spirit guide will connect in that way. But it doesn't always happen instantaneously. It may take a little bit of time for your development to take place, or it may take a little bit of time for the guide to gather some information to send a sign to you. So you can communicate with them. It may seem as if we are not listening, but we are.
So how does the guide go about choosing the person who wants to guide in life?
Well, it is not so much of a choice. The guide will have had earthly incarnations, and so will that person have had earthly incarnations with that particular guide, perhaps many lifetimes ago. And so the guide needs to know that soul inside out in order to work with it. And so then the pact is made before that other person is going to be going into an incarnation, that we will be their guide, you see.
Okay. And does the guide help us with our thought process at all, or?
I would say the guide can influence and guide and advise, but they cannot live your life for you.
Yeah.
The decisions that you make are all of your own. We know your life plan. We know what you planned before you came here. So we know everything that you're going to do anyway. We know the life plan. We are not going to interfere with it, but we are going to give you little reminders of what you had pre-planned before you came here.
Okay. Someone already answered this on the messages, but Karen Flensley asked, why had Elaine's sister Karen a still child in the spirit world?
Yes. She prefers to come back as that little girl, simply because maybe she never got the chance to live as a child of the earthly plane, but also due to the fact that children bring much positivity and light to the spirit. And they bring much positivity to your earth, you see. If you see an innocent child playing, you would immediately think positive and smile about that child playing and seeing it happy. So this is what she wants to bring, the happiness, the essence of that, so that it can create positive thought and laughter and joy, you see. That is how she wants to do it.
Okay. Janine Lane asked, my question is, does the solar plexus and the sacral chakra have to be strong and balanced in order to do trance mediumship?
I would say that you go through lifetimes, don't you? Learning how to realign your energy centers, as I would call them. You call them chakras, I call them energy centers. There could be several different names for those. But I would say that, yes, creating a balance with your energy centers when you are going into trance, so that they all line up together, and then the spirit can come through those balanced energy centers. You see, we will work with the solar plexus, especially with a physical medium. We will work with the solar plexus, and we will work with other orifices in the way of the substance that we need to use, which is ectoplasmic energy. And so with a trance medium, we do not need so much of that. We need a certain small amount of it. But when you are working on a physical mediumship level, it is totally different. So with each form of mediumship, yes, the energy centers are aligning themselves in order to allow the guide to come through. You see. Certain energy centers will open. And of course, after the session, you're going to need to lower those energy centers back into the earth to ground yourself again, aren't you? So when you open up your energy centers, which is what you're doing, you're widening your energy in order for the guide to step into that energy and to manipulate that energy and blend their energy with it. And so then the energy centers from the solar plexus upwards will be used. And then when you're going to ground yourself, you've got the energy centers from here down and all the way down, from the top of the head to below the feet to ground you. Yeah. So you're going upwards with those energy centers. When you connect with spirit, you are tuning into your higher self.
Okay. Marie McPartlin asked, do loved ones who have passed over to the other side need anything from us? She says, in Catholic faith, which I left, there was great emphasis on praying for the souls departed.
We do not need any prayers as such. We are in a safe place. I would say the prayers are more needed for the earthly people, because they are the ones that are left behind to struggle and to learn to grow themselves where unconditional love is concerned. So we are in a safe, happy, joyful place. You will, on but a rare occasion, get a spirit that hangs around and is a little bit disgruntled about things. But the majority of the spirits go into the light, and they are perfectly happy to join their loved ones on the other side.
So do the loved ones wait for the person?
Yes, on occasion they do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Sean Miller asked, do we choose a life path? Which you already answered, but she also said, if so, why do we sometimes choose a difficult one to live? I know you sort of really answered that.
Well, you see, you will stand the test. Life is but a test where the love is concerned, where unconditional love is concerned. You need to go through the negative in order to understand the positive of physical love and unconditional love. And through that, you become empathic. And you learn to understand one another's feelings because you have perhaps experienced that through your lifetime. So you cannot even begin to understand fully about unconditional love until you have been through these negative traits and these emotional states of mind. For instance, if you were to meet somebody that perhaps had lost a loved one to cancer, or they had been going through cancer, so to speak, you would say, well, oh, I feel sorry for you. I know what you are going through. I can fully understand. But you could never understand because you had not been through that certain state. Do you see? So sometimes we pick difficult lives because we want to learn about the fact that unconditional love is a test. And it is never going to be an easy test. And we will sometimes put ourselves through that physical test. But I will also say that when we come back into this world, we are under guarantee that physical bodies can sometimes go wrong, you see? And so that is not to do with the unconditional love, of course, but it is the fact that a physical being is a physical being. It is made up of flesh and blood and bone, and those things can go a little bit wrong sometimes.
You think we're more able to help others if we've been through them problems in a previous life?
Yes, you get what you call, you become empathic in each lifetime. And whatever you had learned to understand in the way of unconditional love in the past life, you would bring that into your life now with you. And then you would have knowledge of that, wouldn't you?
Okay, Zoe Brown asked, my question is, why are we not allowed to know how long we will live for?
Because if you knew how long you were going to live for, you would run around every day in your life feeling terribly depressed and in a panic-stricken state, thinking, well, I only have a certain amount of years to live. I've got to cram it all in. I'm so scared.
Yeah.
You would be terrified. You wouldn't even begin to enjoy your life in any way, shape, or form, because you would be waiting for the moment when death would come.
True.
Unfortunately, I don't have the name of the person. I don't have it on my phone, but she asked, do we have a precise date for the spiritual awakening?
I will not give a precise date for that. It happens in and around that time. If you look at your spring equinox, you see, around about March time, I would say, if I'm going to give a sort of an estimate of time, but it is the beginning of the spring equinox that it will start.
What's the equinox for people that don't know?
I would say spring awakening, the start of the spring, you see? That is when it's going to begin.
Okay. Deanna Thomas, she asked, I'd like to know if Jonathan agrees with the concerns over 5G.
Well, your vibrations are starting to raise themselves because of the spiritual awakening. And so your physical being is learning to adjust to those higher vibrations, which it is not particularly used to in the physical form. So you are trying to raise yourself in order to raise yourself to adapt to these different vibrations that are raising on your earth and in spirit. And so therefore, you cannot even begin to understand why it is happening, but it is because the vibrations of the earth and the spiritual and the physical are raising all together.
Do you think that technology overall is good for us?
Would you say that again, sir?
Do you think technology overall is good for us?
Well, technology was deliberately brought into your world to create greater communication with another so that you could build the ascension up. So the energy is going to be raising through communication. Look what you have here now. If you didn't have all of this now, you would not be able to reach as many people as what you are doing in the present.
It's only reached a handful of people about technology, yeah.
Well, yes. So we want to raise this. We have put this here on purpose. We understand that negative is going to meet with positive. So we understand that negative gets into these sort of things. But to raise yourself through positivity and connection with others that you haven't even met before, well, isn't that wonderful? It's going to spread it far and wide. This is why it has been deliberately brought into your world and invented, simply because we want to reach more people.
Yeah, okay, that's true. Chrissy Lynn asks, is it true that in this lifetime our struggles are due to past life karma, paying for old debt? So to speak?
It is overcoming of old emotions and old entrapments and old fears, isn't it? And learning that wrong is not as good as what right is. So learning from your mistakes and learning from your fears and your emotional states from other lifetimes is what you do in this life or the next life or the life after that, in order to ascend your soul into a greater state of mind when it reaches home again. When it reaches home, it doesn't even feel as if it has been away from home.
Elizabeth Cook asked, is there a devil or Satan or Lucifer?
Or would you say that again?
Elizabeth Cook asked, is there a devil or Satan?
There are the lower realms of energies. And through each lifetime, you will work yourself through these realms into the higher realms of spirit. So, of course, there are going to be those lower realms that are closer to your physical earth, and they are in an angry state of mind. And, of course, yes, they will mess about with people's minds. They will try to attach themselves to people. And this is where the prayer and protection will come in, you see, if you're going to do this sort of thing. This is most important, that you think about the light as much as possible, and then you will not draw these to you.
So we can bring them on with our own negative thoughts.
Yes. Negativity is something of a mindset. Whatever you train your mind to believe, it will believe in, you see. If you're going to teach it fear, then you're going to put fear into your subconscious mind, and it's going to form a battle. It thinks it is in danger, so it's going to create that fear and want to fight back with that fear, isn't it? It's an inner built protection. And with anger, well, if you're going to feel angry, you're going to feel negative. You're going to feel weighed down with that anger. So wouldn't you feel much better thinking positive and being positive about life?
Yeah, definitely so. Is part of the spirit guide's job to protect us from negative spirits?
Yes, but we can only do so much. You have to do the rest yourself as well. You have to put your little bit in, because it is the way that you think is what you draw to you.
Okay, Amy Bedard, so I can read the middle name there. If the Bible is a true book inspired by God, if so, why does it talks about hell so frequently? Does hell exist? Which is a similar sort of question, I know.
I think that going back to that again, where that fear-based control is, I would say to you the truth is going to be brought to the light. Very much so. And I think that if that was going to be written in a negative state of mind, it would put a fear into oneself, wouldn't it? Oh, well, if I create the slightest amount of sin in my life and make so many mistakes, I'm going to go into this hell place.
Okay.
You see? So it is, again, it is thinking, isn't it, on a positive state of mind and being positive and doing good things in life that encourages you to go into the light. It doesn't mean to say that because you commit one fault in your life that you're going to be thrown into hell. Where you think, where you shall go.
Yeah. I know Shane wanted to ask a question about Planet X.
Planet X, yes. There are many different planets in the universe, aren't there? Some that you will never even get to know about in this lifetime or beyond that, because your technology does not have the ability to reach it, or it would burn out halfway through the journey. And of course, there are black holes in your universe, as well as they call it Planet X because they have no other explanation for it. They would say, well, that is a planet that is in existence. Are we going to go far enough with our technology in order to land upon it to see what is residing on it? But most of the planets that are in your close solar system are planets that are here to support the Earth. And sometimes when the Earth is turning, it moves, you see. It is forever turning, forever moving. Do you think that it stays in one place in the universe? You have several different dimensions in your universe, and sometimes these planets will draw closer to the Earth.
So does it, the Planet X, who I think you wanted to ask, does it have anything to do with the noises and the vibrations recently some people have heard?
No,
No.
it doesn't. I would say that all sorts of noises and vibrations come to your Earth simply because we are sending a lot of signs to your Earth about the ascension, the raising, and the awakening spiritual. But also you have your inner Earth, and of course she is vibrating and moving and ascending as well. And there is also a possibility of a polar shift.
Yeah, I think we're going to go to some live questions now, because sorry if I've missed anyone's questions. I did try to get through most of them.
Of course.
I'm sure we can answer them again another time.
Yeah, so we've had, we'll try and get through as many of them as we can, but we've had a fantastic response. Lots of questions for you, Jonathan. People have been really, really good with responding. So going to ask one of the first questions that did pop up earlier on was, how do I get better and more connected so I can do what you and Elaine do and contribute as well?
Well, I would say that in the way of getting better as such, it is understanding and believing in oneself, and understanding and believing in the soul that comes to connect with you spiritually, the guide, or the other helpers that may come in during that developmental stage. But I would say that don't try to be like somebody else. Be yourself.
Yeah.
Be in your own development and do it in your own time. There is no rush. There is no rule. But I would say to you that people work in different ways spiritually. One cannot work the same as another, although there may be greatness of similarity, so to speak. It will always be presented differently by each guide and each medium. So I will say, my dear, be yourself. Don't strive to be another. Be striving to be you, and the best that you can be.
Thank you. Another person has said, good evening, Jonathan. What's the first thing you see when you cross over?
Oh, the first thing that you see.
So you enjoyed it?
Well, the first thing that I saw when I was going to cross over was myself above my body at first. And then I was to see my grandmother in the light. And she came to me and she said, Jonathan, you have passed away. That is your physical body there. You are here with me. Perhaps we will go into the light together. And when you do enter into the light, you see all sorts of things within it. You see your loved ones, you see times that have gone by, you see things that you have done in life. And you will be drawn into a beautiful warm light that seems to pull you in, but gently and slowly. And you will feel complete and utter unconditional love. And at the end of that light, your loved ones will be waiting, looking joyous and happy, and putting their arms out to you.
Oh.
But not all people purport to go into a light as such. Some people will go into old memories and they will meet their loved ones that way. They will go into a spirit garden that is full of light, or they will go into a home that they had the memory of on the earth of their loved ones, and all sorts of ways. But the mostly is to be purported is light, that you enter into a beautiful warm light. And then after that, spirit memories may come to you and you will be presented to God, you see.
Okay, thank you. Jane Taylor had a really good question earlier on. She says, as world population has increased sixfold over the last century, 1.5 to 8 billion at the moment, where do all these extra souls wanting development come from?
They come from the heavens, my dear. Yes. They are coming to your earth to bring light to the earth, to bring knowledge to the earth and wisdom, whatever you want to call it. But they are here to enlighten the world. You will get many old souls coming back to this earth to create good on the earth, to bring people together, to bring them back to the light again. They are all here for a purpose. And you will find that lately, a lot of souls are coming back to have an incarnation because they know about the ascension. They know what is going to happen.
Thank you. Another question is, what is twin flames, please? Is this an internal or external relation?
I would say twin souls, twin flames, which is what Elaine and I are the male and female aspect of the soul as one, but in separate situations. So, for instance, you are all made up of male and female energy, but you will come into the world as male or female in a physical makeup, but you will have male or female aspects about you. So, for instance, a gentleman may be in the world and they would want to be more like a female aspect, you see. So they will go with perhaps a male because they feel more of the female energy coming from them, and vice versa. So I will say, when it comes to twin souls, you will find that the true love connection as the one will be the male and female soul as the one being in two separate counterparts of male and female in the physical. So you see, they are the one. They are the total male and female together in unconditional love, and you have reached that perfection of relationship that nothing can damage. And if you look at God, that's what that is. God isn't he. God has male and female energy, which is what each of you are on this earth.
One's just come in asking, what is your definition of interdimensional beings?
Interdimensional beings, I should think that they mean beings that are not of this earth. Is that correct? I would say that there are outer beings that do connect with your earth. They're not living here in human form, which is what I feel that one will ask me sooner or later, but I will say that they are very interested in the way that you live your lives, very interested in the way that you have developed your spiritual skills and the way that you are in a human evolvement. And they are coming in to be very interested in your, I would say, aeroplanes, whatever aviation that you have. They are very interested in that as well. You see, how you travel, how you get about. But of course, there are positive and negative with those as well. But they do come to investigate your world. And some of them do work spiritually with you in your circles, which is of a rare occasion, but they have been known to do that. So that, my opinion on that is the fact that you are not alone in this universe.
Someone has asked a question. What is deja vu?
Well, deja vu, I will say, this is a little bit of a strange experience to some people. But when you were in the spirit life, you made every single plan before you came into this incarnated world. You incarnated and you are just reliving all of the pre-exempted plans that you had before you came to this earth. Your higher self is reminding you in advance that you have planned this all along. And you are just seeing it in advance and reminding yourself of it spiritually. Do you understand what I'm trying to get at?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Yes.
You got any more questions?
So yeah, we've got so many more.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
Yes.
Well, we will not be able to answer them all
No, we
today.
can do a couple more.
Yes.
I'm sure we'll get to all these questions eventually over time. So we will be doing a few more of these.
Of course.
So,
I think someone wanted to ask, how do we get lower spirits to leave our house if they are there? Because she's thinking of moving.
Well, yes, you will get souls that are a little unrested, or they return to the house simply because they like being there. But if they are negative in nature, maybe they feel that they are still there, the physical, which that they are not. And they are trying to sort of protect their surroundings and say, well, you are an invader, I am here before you. You see, they are usually a little unsettled and need a little bit of help to go to the other side. But I think that it is not but best to encourage them, but to cleanse your energy around you, to try and send them out of your area. Do you understand? And what I would say is, if you are not able to deal with this yourself and not knowing what to do, then it is best to get somebody with experience to deal with it. and to remove the spirit if it is of a negative nature. But sometimes you will find that souls come to visit you in your home of a positive nature, so they're not going to bring you any harm. So going around the house with sage is sometimes not going to do it. Sometimes you need a little bit more professionalism in order to send the spirit away to where it is meant to be going, preferably into the light.
Okay.
But I would not mess about with it yourself unless you know what you are doing.
No, I had someone come up telling me about that same experience, moving paint pots around, and
No.
Yes.
the girl had committed suicide in the house.
Sometimes you will find that when people pass in traumatic states of mind, they can be simply a little unrested for a while. Eventually, sometimes with help or with the coming to the realization that the light is there, they will make the ascension to the other side, and they will make the passing a little easier if somebody comes to help them, you see. It doesn't mean to say that they're going to harm you or that they are angry. They are trying to get their message across that they may need help to make their transition.
Okay, have you got any more questions?
Shen, I believe, is asking, how do pendulums work, please?
Well, pendulums rely on energy, and they rely on that surrounding energy that is moving in and around them. And as soon as you widen your energy, that creates a greater energy for the pendulum to be moving, and the energies will enter close to that pendulum energy, and it is able to manipulate that pendulum in order to give you the answer that is going to be given to you.
Thank you. Someone has asked a really interesting question. How long does it take someone in the spirit world to learn to leave loved ones' signs like feathers?
We could do it any time that we so wished, my dear. Every soul is different. You see, because we do not have linear time like you, we have an existence which is of eternal, and we do not exist by physical time. Then a few years may pass before we have these feathers left, or they may be as much as hours after the person's death that they can make communication. But I would rather not put it as death as such, but passing over, so to speak.
Last two questions. Is it true you have many guides? Someone's asked, Susan going
Well, I would say you have one spirit guide that will stay with you throughout your lifetime. You will have others that come in to connect with you as well, that have known you in past lives, or they want to work with you spiritually. And they will come and go, and some will stay with you, and others will come back again after a period of time.
And someone asked, do we have to come back?
No, you have the choice.
I have a choice. Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Jonathan.
I thank you.
I think there are more questions, but we're going to have to wrap it up. So Elaine's getting quite tired tonight, I should imagine.
Yes, I do find that she works better with me and connects better with me when she is less tired.
Yeah.
We will be seeing you next week in Canterbury on Saturday.
Wonderful. I look forward to it.
Yeah. And anyone that wants to follow Elaine, you can do it. You go on Facebook and go on Elaine Thorpe Trance Medium / spiritual artist. She's on there. She tries to get through most of your questions. Obviously, she does get a lot. But you can book personal readings with Jonathan and Elaine.
We've got the show in Cumberland coming up as well.
There's a show in Wales coming up. If you go on there, you'll be able to find the show in Wales and Canterbury.
Yeah.
And Cumberland. And thank you, Jonathan. We'll be seeing you soon, I expect.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Yes. Thank you. Likewise. God bless you.
Thank you.
How you feeling?
Yeah, thanks.
A little tired. Is there anyone that wants to ask Elaine any questions before we stop the video? It's your time now.
10, 5 to 10.
I think we're about done.
A lot of people saying thank you to you and Jonathan. And,
Oh, thank you, everyone. Sorry, I'm a little tired, but I've had a few things going on, but I thank you very much, all of you, for supporting me and connecting with Jonathan. I know that one of you mentioned the modern words, but obviously he's using my mind. You've got to remember that. He's using my energy and his energy, so part of me will be involved in it. You know, I can't completely close my mind off, otherwise he'd have no mind to work with. So you've got to understand that he's trying to bring everything across in an explanation that's easy for you to understand, and that he's basically working with the spirit mind and the physical mind, so the two have to blend together and come together as one. So it's not always easy. You know, to step back as far as I can go is all I can do, and we do the best that we can. So thank you all once again, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Right, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you
Good
very
night,
much.
everyone.